of Kings, Lord of Lords, you are holy, 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 holy.
Hey everybody, it's Roxy, Kyler, and Eli, and we are so excited to be with you today. Pastor Tim just spoke to us about being bearers of hope. I wonder what hope means to y'all.
Hope means, like we hope to do.
Something that you hope to do.
Hope to do.
I wonder what is something that you have hoped for more than anything else in the entire world. Have y'all ever experienced a great hope where you just hope for something to come? Something to change in your life? Change in the world?
I hope change when people start being kinder.
So hope that people start being kinder and that the world would be a more beautiful place. I like that hope. I wonder,
Like in the kingdom.
like in the kingdom of heaven, Eli says. I wonder if you've ever experienced anyone who has been hopeful.
Hopeful.
If you,
Like kind.
yes. If you've ever experienced somebody who has just been so kind and so full of hope that they just radiated out to the world, that they're just happy and positive
And kind.
and bear
And
hope.
happy.
Bear means something like you hold on to it. You are a carrier. You bear something. You carry that hope with you.
Was bear.
Yeah, bear. This bear is different, but it sounds like the same word. Well, in today's story, we are going to learn about the great family. And this great family is the story of Abraham and Sarah. I wonder if you've ever heard of the name Abraham. Does anyone remember the story about Abraham or any songs?
Yeah, I listen to songs.
You listen to songs. Do you remember any song about Father Abraham had many sons, and many sons had Father Abraham. I am one of them, and so are you. So let's all praise the Lord. Right arm, Father Abraham. Remember that song? And it goes on forever, and we start bobbing our heads and our arms and our legs, and we're turning around and we're sitting down, and it's so much fun and so silly. Well, this is the story about the great Father Abraham and Sarah and their long journey. And the interesting thing about Abraham and Sarah is that they were very, very old when they went on this long journey, and they loved God so, so much, and Abraham was very, very close with God. And when they were very old, God ends up telling Abraham and Sarah that they're going to have a baby.
I didn't have.
They were hopeful of having a baby, but they were too old. And I wonder if you've ever known anyone who has been hopeful to have a baby, or if you've experienced someone so happy when they tell you, we're having a baby. Yeah, that's kind of hopeful. And when you're older, you kind of lose that hope that you would have a baby. And that's where Sarah was and Abraham. They thought, well, we'll never have a baby because we're too old. But that's okay because we love God and we're on this great calling and journey. And soon enough, God said, you have carried this hope with you, and now you're going to have a baby. And there we go. The rest is history. And now you have come from this great family. And that is the story for today. We look forward to wondering with you later.
Bye.
This is the Desert Box. So many wonderful and important things happened in the desert that we need to know what it's like. We can't get the whole desert in our classroom or in our homes. So here's just a little piece of the desert. The desert is a dangerous place It's always moving, so it's hard to know where you are. There is little water, so you get thirsty, and you can die if no water is found. Almost nothing grows there, so there's almost never anything to eat. In the daytime, it's hot, and the sun scorches your skin. In the night, it's cold. When the wind blows, the sand stings when it hits you. People must wear a lot of clothes to protect them from the sun and the blowing sand. The desert is a dangerous place. People don't go to the desert unless they have to. When the flood was over, the creatures went out in all four directions of the earth to fill it up with life again. They often gathered along the rivers. The people lived in small villages and then cities. One of the most ancient and greatest of these cities is called Ur. In the city of Ur, people believed that there were many gods. There was a god for every tree, every rock, every flower. There was a god in the sky, the clouds, the water, and the land. The world was alive with gods. The gods were always here or there. But there was one family that believed that all of God was in every place. They did not know that, but that it was what they thought. Abram and Sarai were part of that family. When it came time to move to a new place, they were not sure that God would be there, so they wondered what the new place would be like. They walked toward Haran with their sheep and their donkeys, even the old people, and all the children went too. They slept in their tents at night, and during the day they would walk along the great river called the Euphrates. It showed them the way and gave them and all of the animals that traveled with them water to drink. It took a long time. Finally, they met people coming out of Haran. They knew the journey was almost over. Then they were there. Sometimes Abram would go out to the edge of the desert and look across the sand and then into the sky. Then God came so close to Abram, and Abram came so close to God that he knew what God wanted him to do. God wanted Abram and Sarai to move on again to another place. Abram and Sarai did what God said. They went into the desert to the west of Haran and walked toward Canaan. They went with all of their sheep, their tents, and their helpers. Abram's brother's son, Lot, also went with them. This time, there was no river to show the way and to give them water to drink. They finally came to a place called Shechem. Abram climbed up the hill and prayed to God, and God was there. So Abram built an altar, also known as an Ebenezer. He marked the place because God was there, and then he went on. Next, they came to a place near Bethel. Abram prayed again, and God was there too. So Abram built another altar. God was not just here or there or there or even here, but all of God was everywhere. Then they went on to Hebron to make their home near the oaks of Mamre. One night, God brought Abram outside. He looked up into the sky. God came so close to Abram, and Abram came so close to God that Abram knew what God was saying. You will become the father of a great, great family. And Sarai will be the mother. The members of the great family will be as many as there are stars in the sky and grains in the sand. Abram laughed. He and Sarai were very old. God's promise sounded impossible, but God said to change their names anyway. Abram was to be Abraham, and Sarai was to be called Sarah. One day, 3 strangers came out of the desert. Abraham was sitting by his tent. He invited them in, and Sarah mixed 3 measures of flour, which is a lot. She's very generous. She gave them bread and meat to eat, and milk and water to drink, as was the custom. They told Abraham that he and Sarah would have a son, and Abraham laughed. Sarah was standing by the tent and overheard them. She laughed too. They were too old. They couldn't have a baby. The 3 strangers went on their way. And do you know what happened? Abraham and Sarah had a son. They laughed again. So they named the baby Laughter. In their language, the word for laughter is Isaac. When the boy was grown, old Sarah, of many, many years, died and was buried in the cave near the oaks of Mamre. Abraham was lonely. He missed Sarah very much, but he had one more thing that he had to do. He sent his most trusted helper back to the land of his people to find a wife for Isaac. Abraham's helper stopped by a well in the evening. Rebekah offered to give him some water to drink. She then helped him give water to all of the animals. She was so full of courage, as she was kind. Rebekah then invited him home. He told her family about Abraham and Sarah and the great family. Rebekah decided that she would like to be part of this great family. So they went across the desert and then past Shechem and Bethel toward Hebron. Isaac saw them coming and came out to meet them. Then Isaac and Rebekah were married. Old Abraham was now very old and full of years. He died and was also buried with Sarah in the cave by the trees. Then Isaac and Rebekah had children, and their children had children, and these children had children. This went on for thousands and thousands of years until your grandmothers and grandfathers had children. Then your mothers and your fathers had children. And now you are part of the great family, which has become as many as the stars in the sky and the grains in the sand of the desert. All right. Now I wonder, what is your favorite part in this story? I wonder if you are anywhere in this story. I wonder about who's in your great family. And I wonder what hope you carry and what hope for this world you see and how you'll go about doing it. Have a great day, guys.
Bye.